Ah, the age-old struggle of socializing. We've all been there, right? You meet someone new or someone you kind of know, and you start with the usual hi, hello, followed by the quintessential icebreakers like, what do you do? And which team do you work in? Then comes the awkward silence. Ah, yes, nothing like the sweet sound of uncomfortable quiet. I've been in this situation more times than I care to admit. And I'm not just talking about the office. Oh, no. I've had this awkwardness in all kinds of social settings, like when I run into that distant cousin at a wedding I haven't seen in years, or when I'm forced to talk to a random stranger at a bar. Ugh. But here's the million-dollar question. What if you could talk to anyone and never run out of things to say? I mean, really, imagine that. No more staring at your drink or pretending to care about someone's golf game, which, let's be honest, you couldn't care less about. Well, it's not as impossible as it sounds. Sure, we all have some level of social anxiety, and sure, that definitely plays a role in our awkwardness. But hey, we're all at different levels. I, for example, have somehow graduated to the advanced levels of awkwardness, and that didn't even come with cheat codes. But over time, I figured it out. I developed my own 3 methods to speak to anyone and never be awkward again. Well, at least most of the time, because let's be real, life's not perfect. At first, I thought it was my shyness, my lack of confidence, and the fact that I was socially a bit inept. Yep, totally made that word up. But after reflecting on my interactions, I realized something mind-blowing. I wasn't this awkward with people I was comfortable with. So, what was going on? How could one person have such opposite personalities depending on the situation? Here's what I figured out. I didn't have 2 personalities. Nope. I wasn't suffering from a confidence problem either. What I had was a skill problem. I just hadn't mastered the fine art of small talk. And let's face it, small talk is an art form. Like learning to play the piano or writing a sonnet, talking to people is a skill you can develop if you just put in the time. I mean, if I could do it, so can you. Trust me. Through years of trial and error, and yes, lots of people watching, I realized that there are only 3 things you really need to do to keep a conversation flowing like an unstoppable river of verbal goodness. And the best part, you can start implementing them immediately. Like, right now. Ready? Here we go. Let's say someone says, I went golfing this weekend. You could do one of 2 things. 1, you could say, oh, cool, then stare off into space, contemplating the meaning of life, or maybe just your next awkward move. 2, or you could ask follow-up questions like a pro. For example, where do you usually play? Or how long have you been playing golf? Boom. Instant conversation starter. This leads to follow-ups like, do you play competitively? Or are you in a club? Look at you, being all smooth. Even though you couldn't care less about golf, guess what? You've just created a conversation, and the other person is going to think you're genuinely interested. Now, the best part of this is that you've taken control of the conversation. You're steering the ship, my friend. Conversations are just a series of questions and answers, and the person who asks the most questions is in control. So guess what? You're in charge now. Sweet, right? But wait, there's more. The second method is a game changer. You might have heard the advice, just talk more. But let's get real for a second. That's not always the solution. In fact, if you want to get better at speaking, you actually need to do the opposite. Shocking, I know. The secret? Listen. And I mean, really listen. Like, shut your brain up and focus on what the other person is saying. Don't start mentally preparing your reply while they're talking. Trust me, we've all been there. You're so busy thinking about your next line that you end up saying something that's completely irrelevant. Not good. When you listen actively, you can ask the right questions and keep the conversation flowing. A good conversation is all about balance. The key is not to listen with the intent to reply, which is what most people do, but to listen with the intent to understand. Don't be that person who's just waiting to talk. There are enough of those people already. Trust me. Finally, the cherry on top, finding common ground. We all click with people who share similar backgrounds or interests. Sometimes it's super obvious, like, hey, we both love golf. Other times it's a little trickier. But hey, with enough probing and the right questions, you'll find that common ground. Once you do, boom, just go with it. The conversation will practically drive itself. Now let's be real. Sometimes, no matter how good you are at small talk, things will still get awkward. You'll hit those moments of silence, and you know what? That's okay. Silence is just silence. It's not a big deal. It'll pass. But if you follow these 3 methods, I promise you, more often than not, you'll be able to chat with anyone, anywhere, and never run out of things to say. And if you do hit an awkward silence, just remember, it's just silence. Breathe, relax. It'll pass. Now go forth, you social butterfly, and start mastering the art of conversation like a pro.